Hey y'all, James here. Today I'm gonna create you a little video tutorial on using a CNC. Now I'm not gonna gear this to any particular company, even though I love Fox Alien. They're an awesome brand. I've had nothing but good luck with them. But the machine I'm gonna show you on today is just a 3018. It's not a Fox Alien machine. It's just a 3018. Nothing special about it. It does have a little spindle. It's not a 300 watt spindle. It's probably 100 watt or so. Enough to carve wood with is all I need. I know it can cut some deep wood, multiple passes, but neither here nor there. There's nothing special about the bit. It's a single flute bit that I'm going to be carving with. It's a 1/8 inch thick. So today we're going to be showing you A, easel, making an image, B, generating your Gcode with easel, downloading it, C, setting up your machine. I'm not talking about bolting or securing your material or your project down to your surface. That is on you. I don't want to show anybody that, because if something comes and flies off and hits you because you didn't understand what I was telling you, or you misunderstood what I was saying, obviously same thing, or I don't know what I'm doing, I don't want to be held liable for it. So, and then we're going to load Candle, import our image into Candle, and cut. So let's get started. I'm gonna load easel up here. And just give you a rundown of everything. The white area is your project, or is your piece of wood or material or whatever you're cutting, whether it be aluminum, copper, and if you're so lucky to have a 300 watt spindle or bigger, and you want to cut some stainless steel at 0.01 millimeter depths per pass, because that's some hard stuff, this is what it is. The light blue or turquoise, whatever it is, this is your machine surface. This machine surface can be adjusted here in this area under machine. Your work surface can be adjusted over above your work piece. Now what I'm going to be cutting today is a 5" by 4" piece of poplar, not popular, sorry, poplar. And it's rather some soft material. It's only 2.7 millimeters in size. I'm just going to scratch the surface. Now I can adjust this to show what kind of material we're cutting. I can do 2.7 millimeters here, and it'll reflect that on the screen. What I hit down here on the lower left-hand corner is inches to millimeters. My machine deals in nothing but millimeters. I personally deal in inches. So you'll see me scroll back or flip back and forth between inches and millimeters. Nothing spectacular, nothing surprising, nothing of the sort. And as you see on the machine here, it is 4 inches from top to bottom, and then 5 inches. Okay, so I have that reflected here on the screen. So let's do a shape. So click on shapes. I'm going to just do a 1 inch square. Now you just click on it and it places it. You can move it around and it reflects over on the left hand side or the right hand side on your piece, or what it's going to look like. Now I don't want to cut this out. This is going to be approximately 2 inches by 2 inches. We want 1 inch by 1 inch, and we do not want to cut out. We want the shape. We want to cut outside path. Now I'm going to let you, I'm just going to give you a real quick tutorial on this real quick. Nothing spectacular, nothing fancy. Inside is going to cut the inside of your shape, obviously. Now, let me give you a word of warning. It's going to go to your 1-inch line, and it's going to cut all the way around on that 1-inch line. And if you have an 1/8 inch thick bit, you're only going to end up with 3/4 by 3/4 inch piece of wood, because your bit is on the inside of that line, on the 1-inch line. If you cut on the outside, your bit is going to be on the outside line of a 1-inch square, leaving you 1 inch by 1 inch square. If you cut on path, okay, and you have an 1/8 inch bit at 1/16 of an inch on both sides of the line, leaving you with 7/8 of an inch piece of wood by 7/8 inch piece of wood. So we're going to cut on, or correction, outside path. Nothing spectacular. So I don't want to do 2.7 inches. I want to do, correction, not inches, millimeters. I want to do 1 millimeter. 1 millimeter isn't all that great. It's about 1/16 of an inch or so. I had to pick up my micrometer, sorry. And we could put this wherever we want. Inside, outside box, or middle of our material. We want to put it in the middle of the material. Roughly, you know what your material is in size. You're going to measure it. Be sure to keep away from your hold downs. I've got a hold down all the way across the top and a hold down on the bottom, as you can see on the screen here. 1/2 inch. I'm using some crafting sticks that my wife has, and 2 1/2 inch screws to hold this down. It's nothing spectacular. It's nothing fancy. Just they're hold down sticks. That's all they are. That's what I call them. But they're crafting sticks for my wife. So without any further ado, let's continue. So this is all we're going to do. We're going to cut out a little piece of wood. Okay, 1/8 inch stick is what I want. I could probably do 1/16, but or 32nd. 1/16 would probably be better. But I just, you know, it is what it is. It gives you a little more accuracy. It increases your feeds and speeds, and that's another thing I want to touch on right now. Easel has a great library, and they pretty much know what they're doing at all times. Okay, it's going to try to do 762 millimeters a minute. It's going to plunge at 228. That's fine, and it's going to cut at 0.07 millimeters per depth. I don't like those numbers, so I'm just going to change them. Now, I'm going to change this to 0.5. Okay, just to be on the safe side. You know, I don't like, and it's poplar. It's soft. Depth I'm going to leave here, and I'm going to leave my feed rate alone. And this is all manual, not automatic. I use the automatic just to get me the basic numbers, and then I can adjust them from there. And it depends on what's going on. Now, I always test on a scrap piece of wood whether my machine's going to cut or not. So if I jump into a piece of wood and I accidentally have it set to 2 millimeters, my machine will do it. It's going to jump, shake, and shimmy. It'll do it, and the cut's going to be ugly. So I can do one millimeter, but I'm going to leave it at 0.5 just to show you. Now, just for those that are uninitiated or uninformed, if you're cutting, this number goes hand in hand with this number. So your depth is 5, or 1 or 5 or 10 or 20. If you have it set to 5mm, whereas I can't set this to 5mm because I'm only 2.7. Let's figure that out. I'm only cutting, bring that number back up, and this up right here, is cutting 0.5mm. That's going to be 8 times through this piece of material. Or is it 6? 6 times, sorry. Every 0.5 millimeter is taken off the depth per pass. That's what that is. So if you have a 10mm piece of wood, you cut in half, that's going to be 20 times around that object, which is fine. As you see the yellow here on this, and I know I'm bouncing around, I just thought about it. Those are hold downs the easel puts into place. I don't like those. If you come off the bottom, they go bye-bye. They're just so the piece of wood doesn't move once you do your final cut. Let's put this back at 1mm, 0.5 millimeter depth per pass, 550 millimeters per minute, and 228.6. It's just a number that I carried over from the automatic settings. The 550 and the depth per pass is what I changed. These right here I just leave alone. I just do an offset cut, offset it by 40% every time, and that's 40% of the previous pass or the previous cut, should I say, and I'm good. Never mess with that. So everything looks good. I'm not going to get in too much more detail here. I'm just going to get up on out of here. I'm going to show you how to save without using easel. I don't like using easel to send to my machine for numerous reasons. The main reason is my internet sucks. I mean, I have good streaming internet, don't get me wrong, but I don't know when it's going to go up or down. And if I'm in the middle of a cut and that thing's going 2 inches deep and my internet goes bye-bye, it'll crash my machine. So we're not going to do that. So I save to a Gcode file and then I run it through Grbl locally using USB cables. So in order to do that, let me back out of here. You go to your machine, you go to your advanced button down here on the bottom, and you generate Gcode. Now, this one was fast. It typically takes a little bit, and I'll redo this again. But here on the side, you can see how it's going to start, go down, and then cut around it. And you can visually see the way this is working here in Easel. Okay, I don't really care about that. I just like to make sure I don't have any red lines outside this box or outside my cutting area. These red lines mean that's a tool travel. Okay, and it's rapid travel. So this machine is going to pick up and it's going to beat feet as fast as it can to this next point or next cut. So, and you can visually see that if you have any red lines outside of your material or outside of your cut area, you're going to hit a limit switch or you're going to crash your machine. Crashing your machine, if you have a big beast like I do, could be very expensive. So we always make sure that we're within our cutting area. So let's go back in here, go to advanced, generate Gcode. I changed nothing here. This is my step over 40%. It does whatever. Safety height is 12.7 meters or millimeters, not meters. It's a big machine. And just export Gcode. I'm going to save it to my desktop. I'm going to save it into my CNC folder, and we can name it whatever. I'll rename it later so that I can share it with the Fox Alien group. And as I say, just a little drawing, and I'm going to save it. Okay. Now, with that being said, I'm going to get up on out of here. I don't need this no more. It automatically saves. I don't have to worry about any of this stuff. You can publish it, whatever. I don't care. I don't do any of that. With the extent of everything I showed you, that's pretty much what I do aside from import, export, or correction, not export, import SVGs, resize them. I adjust my material here, select the material that I'm using. I never really mess with the machine settings or whatnot. If I know I've got a 10-inch piece of wood by 10 inches, I'm going to make this adjustment here. If it's outside the scope of my machine, I make sure my machine can handle the size of the material that I'm putting into it. So now let's get to the machine. First off, I need to bring up Candle. I don't. Yes, I do. My machine, Candle, me. I don't need me in here, so I'm just going to take me down to a little bitty guy down here. I'm going to put it way up here on top. So with my machine here, and I'm going to move the machine over too because I don't need those here. I need you to see these. I'm going to be adjusting my machine so that we can start cutting. So first and foremost, we're going to want to look at the steps. Now, I know my machine, as it sits right now, cannot travel 6 inches or 100 millimeters. So we're just going to do by meter, by 10 millimeters, and we're going to move my machine to where it needs to be, closely, roughly, and over. And I need to stand up so I can see my machine because it's up a little high. I'm going to adjust this so that I can fine-tune my machine a little better. And let me bring up the machine so you guys can see a little bit easier. So with this, we're going to use a piece of paper. Nothing fancy. Just a little piece of paper. And we're going to move it back and forth. Now, with the steps, I'm going to show you here. Too high. So we're going to change this to 1, and we're going to scroll down, moving the piece of paper back and forth just ever so slightly. There we go. Now it still moves, but it's not cutting the paper, so we're good. Now at this point, we can do several things. I'm going to leave my machine alone. I don't need my machine right yet. I'm going to go back to Easel, or correction, Candle. And at this point, I've got these numbers up here, -14. These are the work coordinates. I really don't like those numbers. So what I do is I actually shut Candle down. Just physically shut it down. And then I restart Candle. Everything comes out at 0. It is 3. Yes. So now I pulled my spindle, my Z out. It doesn't matter because my work coordinates are still where they should be. I do not want to hit these buttons right here because everything's already set. It's all zeroed out from the previous step. So at this point, I'm going to go find my little Gcode that I created earlier. And I'm going to port it in. And as you can see, same thing. There's nothing special about it. And we're going to just want to send at this point. Now, I don't do anything special at this point. I've already done all the hard work in Easel. And I've already set my machine up. And my machine is, yes, up. It's not, I don't know if you can see that or not. Let me move the machine closer to the camera. It's doing what it needs to do. So I'm just going to hit send. Now, I'm going to bring easel back up again real quick, or not easel, but candle. You got these buttons right here. Okay, when you send, the pause and the abort button are active. Until you send, they're not active. When I send, I automatically move my cursor over to the pause button. I do not have an E-switch or an E-stop on my computer. So I'm just going to go ahead and send. The machine should start up by itself. Okay, so let's get going. So first off, I always turn my spindle on. We're up as high as we can go, 10,000 RPM. That doesn't sound like much, but it is. And then we're just going to send the G-code. Like I said before, once you hit the send, the pause and abort button become active. I hit the send, I always put my cursor on the pause button. So I'm going to change screens here so that y'all can see what's going on. And I'm going to hit send. Now the machine will start moving. And let's see what it does. It's going to come in, it's going to barely touch the material. And it's barely touching. It should go around twice, doing 1 inch. At 1 millimeter depth. The machine should go back to where it started. And done. That's it. I'm going to show you what it does. Let me move my camera over a little bit. One inch. I don't know if that's exact 1 inch, but that's the basics. So I hope that helps a lot of people out. I'm not gonna tear it all apart yet, and I'm gonna finish editing this video and I'm gonna send it your way. I hope you guys had fun watching me stumble through this, and I hope you get something out of it. You guys enjoy.